Hope you enjoyed your fellowship. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome again to our guests, to our Bradenton Kiwanis Club. I think you'll find that you're surrounded by people who do good work for the community, and then be able to engage in our fellowship and all of our projects and get wonderful programs and great food from Pier 22.
Anyway, I'm Linda Agresta. I am the co-chair, one of the co-chairs, along with my friend, come here, Brett, for Christmas in August. Now, you've probably read about the Christmas in August that the Kiwanis does every year. It is a yearly event. We are going into our 8th year this year. This function specifically deals with and addresses the homeless children in Manatee County. And we serve about 300 to 500 students. Of course, it's just the tip of the iceberg because we have so many homeless children and families in Manatee County. But we started this 8 years ago. It's one of our largest events that Kiwanis does. And we serve students with dental care, medical care, backpacks. It's a huge event over at Lecom Field, was McKechnie Field. And we are soliciting all of our new members to join this committee because it is a feel-good committee. It is a wonderful committee, and it takes a lot of work and effort, but the end result is the best because we are serving the most in-need population in our schools in Manatee County. So if you're looking to become more involved, see myself or Brett and join the Christmas in August committee. Brett, you have a few words?
No, great job, Linda. I think we are right at 2 minutes. Very good. You want to do it now? Okay. Okay, while I'm up here, I'm going to go ahead and talk about our Patriots Day at Kiwanis. As you know, this is an annual event we do every year. We're looking forward to this year. However, we need a count. So I sent out an email this past weekend. If you could please RSVP to by clicking on the click here thing, and it goes right to Dave Grantham. We are in need of the number of people who will be attending. We also encourage you to bring a vet. Bring a vet. So give those names to Dave. Remember, it's in 2 weeks, November 7th. The speaker is going to be Brad Smith, a retired United States Navy, from the United States Navy. All right, going right into our speaker. I think Mr. Grubb took a little bit of my short bio from Elliot, but as you know from Mr. Grubb, Elliot is a native of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In his first 6 years, in his career, he worked for the Pittsburgh Pirates. After that, he's been with Manatee County for the last 23 years, and he loves this community, like Mr. Grubb said. Aside from working in Manatee County, he feels that his bio should entail his philosophies rather than his accomplishments. So here's a couple of his philosophies. If you are a leader, then consistently lead. If you fail, fail fast. Make the corrections, and make the corrections so you don't make the same mistake twice. If you focus on humility and maintain an unselfish mindset, you will no doubt build strong, lifelong relationships. And work experience and education are important, but great people skills and great work ethic help you excel in your career. With that, I'd like to bring up Elliot Falcione of the Bradenton area and Visitors and Tourist Bureau. Thank you.
What I want to talk about today is just give you a 30,000-foot view of where we are with tourism, visitors to our area, and then I'm going to touch upon the World Rowing Championship, a little bit of the recap of that, and also talk quickly about Hurricane Irma, and then I'll open it up for questions. So with that, I think most of you know that we're a department of Manatee County government. There's two types of convention and visitors bureaus around this state. You're either a department or you're a membership 501c6 bureau that's contracted with the government, and then you solicit memberships just like a chamber would do. Quite candidly, I like being a department of the government. You're at the table knowing exactly where the government's headed on community growth and redevelopment. And number two, I think sometimes when you have members, you get pulled around with special interests from time to time. And the great news is we serve every stakeholder in this community. The statute does require when you levy a bed tax, you must have a tourist development council. They advise the Board of County Commissioners. So your county levies 5 pennies on the dollar that equated to a little over $13 million of revenues last year. Break that down a little bit. You got to give your tax collector a commission for collecting the tax. 1 1/4 penny out of the 5 is put aside for beach renourishment, beach maintenance. So when you see our beautiful 7 Mile Sugar White Sand beaches, that comes from your visitors that visit the area. And then Charlie Hunsaker also is gifted enough to get a grant from the state of Florida and federal grants. The last renourishment that he facilitated cost about $16 million. So it is quite expensive. The good news, someone was asking me about Irma. We actually gained a little beach out of Irma, then erosion. As you all know the news, it sucked some of the water out of the bays and it actually added a little bit of sand. The Lecom Park, gosh, that's going to be hard to change. We help fund that at the tune of $400,000 a year. We have 19 more years to go. The Pirates give us $400,000 of in-kind marketing and promotions up at the Pittsburgh market as a part of trade. Our convention center renovation and some of the operating costs are paid with the tourism dollars as well. And then you get into a lot of different other capital opportunities. We helped provide some grant dollars for this beautiful theater. We've provided some grant dollars for the South Florida Museum as they renovate and expand. And then we have marketing and promotions is what we're responsible for as well. There's who we target. The great news about today is through digital media, you can really zero in on who you want to get your brand in front of. So at the end of the day, we're bringing in about a person my age with a medium household income of $112,000. That's up. 5 years ago, we were bringing in about $102,000 average income. The average age has slid a little bit. It was about 51 years old about 5 years ago. But think about it. We target somebody that can afford the assets that are here when they come here. We don't want people coming here looking for discounts, bringing coupons. We're not that kind of destination. We want the elite visitor here that's going to stay really no more than 7 days, spend about $90 a day, fall in love with it, and they'll come back on average 11 months later, 94% of the time. So who do we target? First-time visitors. Why do we target that high demographic? Not just because we want them to come without coupons. We want to convert them to real estate owners and or business owners. That's what Florida needs. They need a visitor to convert from a visitor to a real estate owner or business owner. It's how you grow your community. There is your party composition. Will we ever be a single destination? Well, if the characteristics of our community don't change, the answer is no. You can remember 4 years ago, people were saying, get into Brazil, market Brazil. They're coming to Florida 37% higher than the year prior. And when you dig into the research, the Brazilians are looking for the nightlife. Does Anna Maria Island have nightlife, or Longboat Key or Bradenton? Nope, we're not South Beach. And they're looking for the major attractions. What we do have that intrigues them is the shopping component and the sports component. So we're more inclined to target Brits, Central Europeans, and Canadians on the international market. There's your total visitors. If you look, we're bringing in about 700,000 of the 3 million that are staying in short-term rental accommodations. That's anybody that rents a house, a condo, a duplex, a hotel, motel, less than 6 months. And they're supposed to register so the tax collector can collect the bed tax off of them. 3 million is people staying at your houses, visitors, relatives, etc. There's your length of stay. When I said we want them to go home after 7 days, research will tell you that the average daily spend erodes after 7 days. So we want to circulate them. Thanks for coming. Go home now. And then come back 11 months later after you save up some money again. Okay? Great arrival breakdown. Fly drive. You definitely want to be a 50-50. That's the perfect world. Not all fly, not all drive. And we're blessed to have 2 quality airports bookending us as well. I think I've talked about this to a lot of you in the past, but I think a big part of our success, we've been in double-digit growths for 5 years now. Florida's been flourishing. Visit Florida's done a great job. But look at the top logo. Pretty crazy. Research will tell you you have 3 seconds to convince a consumer to dig into your brand or understand your brand. And if you look at that quickly, and if you live anywhere outside of Manatee County, you may not know where Anna Maria Island is. You may not know where Longboat Key is. You sure don't know where Florida's Gulf Islands is, except it's from Pensacola to Naples, Florida. And then you have Bradenton and Lakewood Ranch. So we knew right away that we needed to go do a brand evaluation. 5 months it took. We did a SWOT analysis with 72 stakeholders in this county, and then we did marketplace study. The marketplace determines your brand. The stakeholders determine basically your SWOT analysis, okay? And that's where it gets political, is you want to keep the politics out of your brand elements if you're an export business. Hence, Bradenton, Anna Maria Island, Longboat Key, Florida's West Coast. Florida's West Coast narrows us down to Clearwater to Naples, so we've gone like this. Bradenton was the geographical locator that people understood in the marketplace the most. You don't see Lakewood Ranch in there anymore. You don't see Palmetto in there anymore, because I live in Lakewood Ranch for 20 years. It's a great community. It's got great upside. It's our future as well. But it didn't resonate in the marketplace. When you go onto our website, we will showcase Palmetto and Lakewood Ranch really, really well. But that 3 seconds, you need to get them from that logo to your website, okay? We over 3,000 commercials or ads are put in front of us daily in our everyday walk. That's crazy. So you got to be different and unique in the marketplace. There you go. As you all know, online is it. The website is our heart. When you're bored the first week in November, go to BradentonGulfIslands.com, and you'll see our new website launched at the tune of $250,000. Destination marketing websites are really, really expensive. They're really dynamic, but they are the engine that brings visitors to the destination. There is a first little shot. That's an award-winning travel journal. We used to call it a visitor guide. Time Inc. used to produce it. There was some cachet to saying Time Inc. produces our visitor guide. And we always had heartburn going to New York to have somebody produce a visitor guide. So we hired SRQ Media and said, be different, be cutting edge, be unique. They came up with this coffee table piece called a travel journal, and it won an award, and it's a great first impression. Social media obviously is really, really important. It brings down that age bracket, really targeting 35 to 45 in our tool belt. And the good news is we don't have as many likes as some of our competitors. Our engagement supersedes every other competitive set we have in the state of Florida. So NetWeave out of Palmetto manages our social media platforms really, really well. Where are the visitors coming from? There it is. It's easy to say Florida is your #1 feeder market. It's your drive market. It's close here. Pittsburgh is now year-round. They're in the 5. They used to pop in during spring training and then disappear for the rest of the year. But because of the relationship we built with the Pirates, the sister city relationship we formed with Pittsburgh, and now recently a new relationship with the Pittsburgh Penguins, they now maintain a top 10 feeder market year-round basis. Cleveland is an intriguing one. Ohio, Chicago, New York has always been really, really well. There's our international markets. Canada, we treat them like the 51st state. A lot of the Ontario plates you see here during the winter, in most cases, they're snowbirds. They're staying here for 3-4 months. and then driving back to Canada. The average daily spend is a lot lower in Canada than, say, a country like Germany. The German market spends more money per day and stays longer than any other tourist that we go after. There's some of the partnerships that we have. For example, Sarasota, we compete on the drive market. We partner in the international market. When you have some British person looking to come here for holiday, in their mindset, they're coming to the Sarasota Bradenton area, not one or the other. If you have someone who lives in Orlando that wants to come for a 4-day weekend, they're either picking Siesta Key or Anna Maria Island. Tampa has become a really good partner of ours. They have the major attractions. We have the beaches. They have Lufthansa and Edelweiss, really strong partnership with good philosophies. And then we picked up Legoland as that major attraction only about an hour and 20 minutes away, because the international visitors will spend 1 week in Central Florida and then want to spend 1 week on a coastal destination. So it's worked out really, really well. There's the economic impact. Sports continues to grow. I think it's going to be up about 125 million. The leisure is now 1.1 billion. The sports segment, I call it an economic stimulus familiarization tour, the sports tournaments. And people go, what are you saying? Economic stimulus familiarization tour. What it does is, you've all done it. Your kids are in a tournament. You have to travel with them. You have to go to a destination that you don't know about, you've never visited. So the parents come when they're at Premier or IMG Academy or Lecom Park, and we expose them to the destination. The new dollars come in from the tournament, and we're familiarizing the parents with the destination, and they say, wow, never knew the Bradenton area was like this. Honey, let's come back for a vacation. Make sense? And we go after business on times that we really need to sustain visitation on a year-round business. Sean's our sports commissioner. You all have talked, Manatee County's negotiating with Lakewood Ranch on buying Premier Sports Campus. I think we'll be involved in that one way or another. You'll probably see some news hit the paper within 30 days on that. There's our great venues that we're blessed to have. Anderson Race Park is here. They just did a rebranding and did some upgrades to their venue up near Port Manatee. I tell you what, they train NASCAR drivers up there. Not NASCAR, Grand Prix. And I tell you what, it's a NASCAR's next year. But I tell you what, it's a great team building and corporate retreat venue. It's a lot of fun. You got to reach out and go check that out. 24/7. 5 years ago it was 17,000. In the two-county area, 70,000 jobs are in the hospitality industry. So it's important that we support University of South Florida's hospitality program. We need to have our kids here, educate our kids here, and find jobs here. There's nothing better than to having a native employee working for your company. We are the Film Commission as well. I think where we really stepped up a notch is having Feld Entertainment in our county now. They are one of 2 production studios in the state of Florida, and they're only a half a mile from our office, so they've been a great partner as well. Niche tourism markets, we don't want to talk about the beaches all the time, even though that's, I call it the chum that brings the visitors to the area. But arts, culture, culinary, you have Village of the Arts. We're getting ready to hire a liaison to help market the arts, culture, and heritage industries of our county. We should have somebody on board by the end of the calendar year. Destination weddings are really, really powerful here. We have international couples that come here to get married. And then, of course, Charlie Hunsinger with the eco parks, some of the most pristine parks that you'll find in the state of Florida. It's our job to create awareness of that, because if you load up the options for a visitor to come in, they'll stay longer, and then when they leave, they'll say, gosh, we didn't get to see Robinson Preserve. We didn't get a chance to go over to Dakin Dairy or Mixon's Fruit Farms or Village of the Arts. So it gets them to come back more and more. We are managed of the convention center. We should have an update within 30 days on the convention center hotel. That will rise all the boats for the hospitality industry. It is a game changer for the urban core, so stay tuned on that. If we stay on course, the 250-room full-service hotel will be open by January 2020. And that's it. Let me just touch upon some odds and ends. World Rowing Championship, I couldn't tell you how many times the media called me and said, hey, we want to know about the economic impact. Okay, because we've been saying all along, 25 million economic impact on an event in September, great. And they weigh that against the region investment. Okay, it is so much more than economic impact. Okay, is economic impact important? Sure. But what it did was it branded that elite facility for future championship caliber games. Okay, and it is the #1 rowing course in the Western Hemisphere. They no doubt have the top finishing tower in the world, and I've been blessed to go around and see a lot of them. It is the top. Will Robinson's dad, Bill, is the chairman of the nonprofit organization to lead the development of that, and he's been a blessing as well as the other board members. But some of the other business we've gained from World Rowing Championship, we hosted the Olympic trials. We're here. We had the Youth Nationals in January that drove new dollars to the area. Teams that competed, the 72 teams that competed, a lot of them trained in that course and at Fort Hamer all summer long. That was probably under the radar. And then we host the World Masters this time next year. That is double the amount of athletes that participated in World Rowing Championship. And we are quietly bidding on another world-class event, and the federation is out of Switzerland. And the first thing they said was, and it's not in the sport of rowing or triathlons, but they said, we are here because we see how your region has hosted the World Rowing Championships, so we're intrigued to bring this event to the Bradenton, Sarasota area in August of 2019. What a perfect time of the year. So it'll continue to build. We got to provide a quality first impression and quality customer service. And I told the Board of County Commissioners this a couple weeks ago. I said, what'll screw up a perfect thing is a selfish mindset, greed, and special interest. Okay? That'll screw it up. And when you're dealing with a Sarasota County, a Manatee County, a major corporation like Benderson, and a nonprofit, tell you what, you got a lot of interesting personalities and dynamics there. So let's get on the offense and just say it. Stay unselfish. Stay humble. Okay? And make decisions for the greater good of the region, not for one side or the other. And I've learned that I can say that because one of my jobs, number one, I'm a community servant. Put executive director aside and all, Ellie and his team are bringing in. I'm a community servant. So I got to understand what the residents want in a visitation before we go after visitors. Now, if I said today that we're going to start promoting Anna Maria Island for spring break, what will happen? This will be the last speech that I'll give in my career. Okay? So, and we executive director people of CVBs have an ego where it's all about numbers. What was your traffic? Oh, ours was more, and we did this. It's about balance, community balance. If I said, what is the value of a tourist to our area? Because a lot of us don't like the traffic, okay? It generates tourism tax to the tune of $13 million, okay? But it generates sales tax revenues. Tourism allows us to not pay income tax. Las Vegas, Nevada is the same way. But without tourism, we pay income tax, okay? It appreciates our real estate because of the demand. I just said a visitor here converts to a real estate owner. And it keeps our property tax in check. And it supports our hospitality industry on a year-round basis. I can promise you, without visitors, we are in a depressed community. Florida's depressed. We can't bring in the big industry that Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee can bring in because of the real estate values, the cost of living here. Can't do it. So we have to embrace tourism, but at the same time acknowledge how can we bring in visitors, but enhance the quality of life for our residents. So that's our objective, okay? But if I speak from the heart and I'm candid and I build trust through that, I can kind of speak my mind and get a little cocky about things without someone saying, oh my gosh, Elliot's being an ass here. because if they know where my heart is, then they'll embrace it. Make sense? Okay? So I'm going to close on this. I said it at the theater the other night, and I don't know why, but it's important. We struggle on, just getting work done and just getting our daily life accomplished. And I can look at myself and say, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. And I critique myself pretty hard every day. And sometimes, and I think it's good to say this to young kids, middle age, and even retirees. And I could say, you know what? I made my mistakes. I'm going to get my 30-year career with the county, and I'm done. I'll retire. And I can't have that mindset, okay? We need to get on the pedal at any given time of our life, okay? Acknowledge when we're not focused daily. Acknowledge when we don't build relationships like we should. Acknowledge the importance of moving forward and acknowledging, all right, I made mistakes. Let me clean it up, and let me finish strong. Okay, everybody, finish strong. And don't you feel better? I don't care if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, but if you have that mindset, how can I finish strong? You're going to be so much more motivated in your daily walk. This is such a small community that we stick together, and I am the least intelligent department head in Manatee County government. But why Ed Hunsinger, I think, appointed me is because I work hard on communicating, building relationships. With relationships come resources to get the job done. And I'm smart enough to hire smarter people around me, which is pretty easy to do, okay? So just if there's anybody embraces what I just said, it'll just make you feel so much gooder. Well, one more thing. David Coco, raise your hand one more time. Through our sister city relationship, David is going to be managing the Spring Hill Suites. We were up with Dr. Pat Mario in Pittsburgh looking at his new residence inn. I'm telling you, embrace this guy, partner with this guy, first class, humble, and you know what? Go to that Spring Hill. It is going to be an awesome property, and we want you to move here with your family at some point and build your product within this county. Thank you for being here. That's all I have, folks. Thank you so much.
While Elliot is still up here, is there any questions for Elliot? There's got to be questions.
I must have talked too long. Yes?
You partnered with the State College of Florida to bring the state volleyball championship to this area. Can you talk a little bit about that and when that contract ends?
Yeah, our sports commission, we've earmarked all the sports venues that are interested in bringing out-of-town business, and your athletic director has done a great job bringing in, helping leverage basketball tournaments, volleyball tournaments, I think softball tournaments. We're trying to partner up and bring in bigger business where we can use your assets and say IMG Academy's assets in the same corridors. So the Florida Sports Foundation also gives us grant dollars to leverage tournaments in that is matched with our allocated sponsorship dollars. So basically our dollars buy down rental rates of the venues, and also the sports foundations help us buy down as well. So a lot of times we'll just take our sponsorship and pay SCF or Premier for the rates they would normally charge the promoter to leverage that in. So it's been a great partnership. It is so important to diversifying our outreach in the marketplace.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Dr. T.
For those who are coming in by automobile to Manatee County to enjoy all this, would you have any magic wand proposals for state and local government as far as transportation infrastructure?
Yeah, it is. And I keep publicly saying it at Tourist Development Council meetings when people complain about the traffic on the island. What's crazy is you have 3 municipalities within 7 miles on one island. I asked Ed Childs, I said, why is that? Can we change it? And he goes, don't even go there, you'll be dead, and there'll be 3 cities on one island. The first step, at least on the island, is to get 3 cities to agree to a charge parking program and bring that to Manatee County so we can charge at Coquina Beach. Now, for the residents, we would come up with some kind of a mechanism where you get a tag or a card that you as a resident would not pay to park. We are one of 2 West Coast destinations that still offer free parking. It's us in Sarasota. If we did it tomorrow, Sarasota would probably do it 6 months later. So that would give you a revenue source to help the municipalities pay for operating costs that they can't pay for to handle visitors, and it would filter a better demographic visitor to the island, which would be less cars on the road. Second, the county is working on their urban core redevelopment is with multimodal transportation. That Southwest TIF district will actually build in bike paths and different types of bus lanes, because the millennial workforce, as many of you know, they want more of a dense community, multimodal transportation. They don't want to own a car. They want to be able to live above a retail store. Unfortunately, we're talking, probably 10, 15 years out. It's a long road to hoe, but it's tough to get governments all in the same mindset in a short period of time is a challenge. We're going to keep talking about it, but I think the first best step is to do a charge parking program on the island.
One last question.
You mentioned the top 10 destinations where people come from. Is that the same destinations that people relocate from?
Pretty much, yeah, and it comes down to the research. The first-time visitor comes back 94% of the time. It's such a family destination. It's a detox environment. Our tagline is Real Authentic Florida. I'll go around the world saying it's Florida like it once was 20, 30 years ago with modern-day accommodations. Find another Manatee County around the state with its attributes and characteristics you can. And they tend to just eventually move here part-time and then full-time. There are other ripe markets out there. We call them markets of opportunity, like Dallas, Houston, Scandinavia, but we don't have the money to put into advertising. So we'll do PR in those markets. So those feeder markets are the best markets to get the strongest ROI with the budget we have. And we've seen double-digit growth over the past 5 years. One more quick one?
It's the judge. I got to let him. Why don't you become a member of this great club?
You never say no to a judge, right? I'll talk to my bodyguard back here. Thank you all so much. Pleasure talking to you.
Hey, I'm going to give you As many of you know, Vicki and I went on a little trip to the Outback, and I told Elliot earlier that while we were on the ship, we were able to get some news from New Zealand and from Australia, and I was proud to watch the news from my home area covering the World Rowing Championship. So we are getting out around this world, and it was a great sight to see. So with that being said, great. It's our I think you probably have a couple of these.
That's okay.
Authentic, nice rulers. But we want to give you this ruler again to measure your future success at the Bradenton Convention and Visitors Bureau. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Don't we live in an amazing community? How lucky are we, right? And how lucky are we to be a member of this club? I'd like to thank our guests, Assistant Chief of the Bradenton Police Department, Josh Kramer, Will Robinson, very dear friend of mine and wonderful public servant, Bobby Troxler, David Coco. I don't know. I was close. Was I close? Close enough. All right. That tells me something. And I wish you all a very wonderful week. I thank you so much for serving this community. May God bless you all. We are adjourned.
Thank you.